listening.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
What we got's gonna turn your brain into shit.
Why you laugh?
Zlurpcast!
Oh yes, we're back. Extreme, hello. It's been how many years since we've talked?
I don't know. In this format, quite a few.
In general, I have not talked to you since the last Zlurpcast. It's been a while, and you sent me these notes and says we're back, bitches, and I'm like, we're not going to swear in this show,
Aren't we?
I fucking prefer not.
Okay.
I mean, bitches is also a little degrading. You know what I mean? Not to women, but to Blood Bowl coaches who do bitchy ass things.
Oh, I mean, I was going to say I wasn't directing it at women.
Right,
I was
exactly.
directed at everybody.
Agreed. This is the Zlurpcast. Back to the roots. The TV portion's gone. Biron's gone, thankfully. Valdrick's gone. We're just going back. We're going back to Blood Bowl. And I got to tell you something extreme. I didn't want to break this news to you off air. I wanted to do it here on the show on our first episode back. There is no more main guy and other guy.
What?
It's done. You are tuned into the Zlurpcast. You are going to a lot of Blood Bowl tournaments. You are a main guy in your own rights. People know you, not just the guy with the cancer coin either, thankfully. They know you for other things,
I hope so.
I'm the forgotten one. So the way I look at it, this show is 50-50, full-on partnership. I'm thinking instead of main guy and other guy, we'll just merge them. Like Mather guy.
Mother guy?
You can be mother guy, and I'll be other main Othan guy. I don't know. You had this successful G.I. Joe channel. You did that on your own. You're doing all these things, and I'm just like, hey, can I get some of that extreme rub? I need a little help getting myself elevated these days. That's what she said. So how do you feel about that, extreme?
I'm willing to accept that responsibility, I guess. I appreciate you handing off some of the main and letting me have some of that role.
Yep. You get all the role you want. Know your role and shut your mouth, except don't shut your mouth. That's the difference on this one. Glad to be back. If you are not familiar with our work, people say going strong since we haven't been going strong. I'm saying Zlurpcast going weak since 2009.
That seems accurate. Yes.
We're not going strong. We did a show for a while about tournaments, and then we had some guests on, and we kind of blew our load early on with all these jokes, these bits, if you will. Then a lot of expectation. Then we're like, oh, it's a bit much. And then we started playing other games, doing this and that. And it's, at a certain point, you got to go with what made you famous. What puts you where you need to be. And that's just kind of what happens. So we finally came around. It's now our 15th year, if you start from the beginning of doing this.
So is this like our reunion tour?
Yeah, it's a reunion tour, not a farewell tour, but a reunion tour. It's a couple of guys in the band finally made up.
We're going to suck the money out of this reunion tour, and then we're going to have 5 farewell tours after that.
5 farewell tours, and then we're going to do one with the face paint on and with the face paint off. Because that way, if you saw, I saw them with the face paint. You didn't see them with it off, though. Oh, I got to see that one. Yeah. Got a lot more hits without the face paint, too. Kiss did Lick It Up without the face paint. It should have been with face paint on. It feels like a face paint kind of song, so that's going to be us. I'm Johnny P. That's Extreme. Those are our aliases, but also real names. Extreme legally had his name changed to Extreme. Some people close to him call him Brian, but you are Extreme. And, lest anyone think he's not an extreme fellow, he is quite extreme. You get a couple of bottles of Zlurp piss in him. He is extreme like a motherfucker.
Zlurp piss still around?
I think maybe we buried one as like a time capsule for future generations to see what it was all about. I remember when Jeffro made it and he gave it to us at his Slurpee Bowl, and he said something to the effect of, "You better pour it in a glass." I'm like, "Oh, wow, it'll probably taste better." He's like, "No, you might get hurt." I'm like, "I might get hurt." Like
no promises on the tasting better.
No, it tasted like piss, and with a side of ass as well. But it was like a heart attack. I'm thinking if you drink out of it, I don't know. He kind of scared me a little bit, but we wanted to start the show up again. Extreme, you want to talk about like the format, what to expect? Kind of, you have focusing on the Blood Bowl scene and what we do, right?
Sure. I mean, Zlurpcast has gone through so many different formats over the years. We had, I would say our most success was as our kind of variety show era. But what we're looking at now is becoming a Blood Bowl podcast, but not covering any tactics. We're not going to attempt to make anybody better because we're not that great. So why would you listen to us to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to be the Blood Bowl podcast. And the idea is that it's kind of what happens after the games. You're hanging out at night after the games are over and you're talking about all the glorious things that happened on the pitch, all the crazy things that happened, or you're, drowning yourself in beer. And we also want to celebrate the victories of our friends at tournaments. So we're not going to be doing a monthly podcast or any like hard format even. We're just going to talk about the stuff that we know and that we like, and we're going to have fun with it.
So a couple just notes on that one. It might end up coming out monthly just by nature of when the content needs to be distributed.
Yeah, which makes it all the more important that you subscribe to the podcast on whatever format you're listening on.
That's true.
And while you're subscribing, go ahead and give us 5 stars or whatever the most excellent rating is on that format.
Apple, and, Google, Spotify, wherever. Yeah.
Yeah. Follow us on all the social medias, on Facebook and everything, all those things.
If you go to zlurpnation.com, there's a link or like a link tree of a bunch of different things. You're going to want to have that and just kind of go there. You can also get merch, stickers, shirts for Zlurpcast, the old Zlurpcast TV, Death Path, all kinds of cool stuff on there you can get. Obviously, get a Zlurp Nation button. At the very least, get a Zlurp Nation button.
At the very least.
At the very least. So you mentioned Extreme about talking about our friends and our friends' victories. Let's just break that down. Step 1, get friends.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2, get friends who can actually achieve a victory.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
We have friends. Thankfully, we have friends. Sometimes we like to say, "Oh, you're down here too." You know what I mean? You're down at these tables too.
It's kind of like that the Garth Brooks song, "I got friends in low places, only I got friends at low tables."
Yeah. Sounds like a parody we need to have done. We should pay some girl from Europe to go put a bikini on and sing that and put it on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I got $5 for you.
That's $5. There you go. You can build a website for $5. So that's kind of a big part of this. Longtime listener to the show will remember things like hanging out with Jervis Johnson at North Beach and me spoiling the ending of Curb Your Enthusiasm for him. Him, drowning about 12 beers, but 3 wings. Oh, I'm stuffed. Like, you're stuffed? What are you talking about? Ain't no Dark Side Cowboys coach going to be stuffed after 3 wings. But he was down in pints, so I totally get that. We got a lot of great stories, and we're going to create more of those stories, more of those memories. I love that. And to your point, Extreme, subscribing is a great idea because you're going to want to make sure you get the episode downloaded. We'll try to come out with them monthly, but it's literally not a part of the plan. It would only be part of the plan if we have enough things to talk about. It might happen for a couple of months because we're going to be going to some tournaments. We got things to talk about. But Extreme might go through a little bit of a dry spell, and I might say F you to this game once again. Because I do that about 3 times a year, And when I do it 3 times a year, it usually lasts for 4 months. So it's like, if I say F you to Blood Bowl 3 times a year for 4 months, you can see where that gets us, doing the math.
Yeah, I mean, I have a kid that's very involved in extracurricular activities, and that's going to limit my schedule for tournaments at different seasons. So there's going to be some months where I just can't go to tournaments. And
you're not going to put Blood Bowl ahead of your family anymore? Is that what you're saying?
Anymore. I'm turning over a new leaf with this child.
Cool. Okay. So send your Dad of the Year mugs to Extreme, not on Lois Lane anymore. We fortunately had to move the Zlurpcast offices. Don't worry. There's still hate mail going there to whoever owns that place now. I love that. It's still out there. It's still out there. So the segments you know and love, Inside the Dugout, Around the Old World, maybe Zlurpcast exclusive, Tournament Graveyard. Safe to say, Extreme, are we ever going to do Go For It again? It's the name of a game show. It doesn't have to be a rule anymore.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I think there's certain things that could actually make it more challenging now that the rules keep getting updated and changed with FAQs and
Yep.
stuff.
There's no doubt things can be challenging now. So I would love to somehow find a way to get Go For It's back in the mix. That was fun. It was a fun game show. You know, I listened the other day to Hoshi Komi take on Count Luther in a celebrity edition of it. And man, those accents were rough, you know, and they were the real guys. So their accents were who they are. They are who we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, Extreme, should we just kind of get into it?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's give them a taste of what they can look forward to.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Maybe.
Is it Tournament Graveyard?
That's what I'm thinking.
Let's do that right now.
Brought to you by Ogre Guardian. When you're here, you eat families.
You are tuned into the Zlurpcast. The Tournament Graveyard.
The Tournament Graveyard. Hey, who else besides me? Hands up, who missed that intro of that segment? Because the fact of the matter is, when we moved away from the format and away from those, it felt like they still need to be played. Like even when you hear a Zlurpcast later on, when we talked about something else, even Blood Bowl, it was like, oh, you're going to talk about tournaments, but the Graveyard guy's not there? Yeah. The Ogre Guardian guys aren't there? The Nuffles guys? Yeah. So now they're back. Thankfully, we got all of our original clips there. And our voice actors on there have not been paid any extra. I'm using the same footage they recorded in 2009, and I love that. Pretty great.
Yeah, we're playing the hits.
Playing the hits. Thank you. Yeah. You know what? Hotel California, every single song. Every song. We'll do an acoustic set, too. It's the same song over and over again. I love it. So, Extreme, tell me about Underworld Cup. I know it's one of your favorites, if not your favorite, right?
It is. It's now that Chaos Cup has moved out of the region, Underworld Cup has solidified itself as my number one favorite tournament every year. It's my can't miss tournament of the year. And this was Underworld Cup 23. It was the original Gangsters version. So each year at Underworld Cup, if you aren't familiar, there's two captains selected and everyone's split amongst those two teams. So while everyone's playing in their normal tournament format, there's also a team competition going on. And this year it was Phil, Stout Youngblood, versus Jim, Old Man Monkey.
He doesn't have young blood anymore, though, just to clarify.
No, probably not much.
Stout old blood is what I'm calling him these days. And also, Phil's like 6'8". There's nothing stout about him either. Maybe it's a beverage reference, I'm guessing.
I don't know.
And
we should ask him sometime.
Yeah, I'm not on the show, obviously. That's not going to happen. Never forget, hey, Phil, if you're listening, we had a podcast challenge at Chaos Cup 2009 or 2010, us against 3 Die Block, and you were cheering for Paulie, who bailed on the show, and not for me, who lived down the street. Thanks, bro. Never forget. Anyway, Old Man Monkey, Jim Lanier, right?
Yep, from Florida.
He is an iconic member of the Blood Bowl community and one of the original NAF dudes, right?
Yeah, one of the founders of the NAF, the treasurer for a long time. Really kept the money in order for quite a while.
Does he have a lower NAF number than me?
He does not. I have a lower NAF number than both of these original gangsters.
Whoa, and yours isn't even 3 digits, is it?
It's not.
154 represent right here. It's like my only thing. It's all I have. For a while, it was playing all the races, and that, went in the shitter. But 154, not bad. Laminated membership card, jealous. Yeah, jealous.
A little, yeah.
I think so. And a letter from John Lewis as well saying, welcome to the NAF. So when we're talking about Underworld Cup, there is a very specific format that goes to this tournament. The team, there's your teams that you're gaining skills, but the teams, right? The coaches. And this was like no one wants to be picked last kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so it's a normal schoolyard draft. There have been a couple different years where the captains collision?
Well, they might have collided as well.
Sure. They got together and they agreed that they're going to pick Vanderby last or goofy things like that. But this year...
Wait, why is that goofy?
Because he should be easily a top 5, top 3 pick.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Matt Vanderbeek?
Yeah, he's pretty good at this game.
He's okay. I will tell you what, I'm pretty sure I got a tie against him like 10 years ago, and I threw a party afterwards.
So this year, as the draft was going down, Old Man Monkey selected Brian 2 first, which was a great pick.
Good first rounder.
Phil followed up by choosing Mike Valdrick first. So very much picking with his heart. Mike is a great guy, and you want him on your team, but maybe not a number 1 pick.
I mean,
I'm not saying anything bad about Mike. Phil also chose me as like his number 5 pick, I think, and that's way too high. So again, like he was picking with his heart, and Brian too was helping Old Man Monkey choose his team. And as the draft was going on, everyone on Phil's team was kind of looking at each other like, "Oh no, this is not good."
Yeah, before you knew it, did it kind of have that feeling of like the the lambda against the alpha betas for a while? but then you brought in the other lambdas, like, oh, you guys are part of lambdas too? From, of course, Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. Who decides the standards is what I want to know. So when you're building these teams, Extreme, at a certain point, did it become kind of a just whatever, knowing that once the top 3 or 4 picks all went to one team, it was going to be a for funsies thing?
Well, I mean, it wasn't even the top. We had a few good coaches on our team, but they had a lot of good coaches on their team.
Were you trying to prove a point, though, that maybe, any given Sunday, right?
I mean, if that's the point you want to prove, that's noble of you, I guess, but it's not going to work out very often.
So you're saying that luck is not a factor? Because I think it's a big factor in the game.
I think it's a smaller factor, but it is a factor.
To me, Blood Bowl's 98% luck.
Okay. I mean, that's one way to approach the game.
And 2% being a dick. That's the new shirt. But you kind of realize, though, hey, we're gonna do our best and go into it. And of course, you brought the 40 miners, right?
I did
with a friend.
With Mighty Zug, yes. Yeah. So it took me a couple years I fought against star players in the Blood Bowl 2016-2020 format. I thought they were bad for tournaments, but I finally got to the point where I was tired of showing up and playing at a handicap. Yeah. Especially with dwarves, you have the extra money, and I'm spending it on like shit on the sideline instead of a star player.
Is this that kind of combination of, why do I feel I have to play on hard mode? That's 1. 2, everybody's doing it. 3, you have that moment of, well, if you can't beat them, join them, and you just kind of get over those. But there is a pride level that you had for a while when you started playing Blood Bowl again that said, I'm not doing the star player thing. I'm paraphrasing, but you, at some point, you decided to say, no, screw it. I'll join along.
Yeah, there's a couple things. So it's why should I play on hard mode? First of all, I'm not good enough to play on hard mode. So now I've gone from being like a second tier coach to like a third or fourth tier because I'm refusing to play well. And another factor of it is I think tournaments have gotten a lot better in correcting the star player problem. Yeah. With taxing how many skills you can get and stuff. It's become more of a choice. I think there's still room to grow, but we're getting there, and it's getting better.
So what was the penalty for this one by taking Zug?
On this one,
do you remember offhand?
I don't even remember. No.
Okay. Was there one?
There may not have been in this format.
Okay. Well, let's also remind people that the format, it gets pretty nuts. By like the 4th or 5th game, these teams are ridiculous.
Yeah. The Underworld format is very unique. I know we were kind of talking about it a little bit during this tournament too. Like in the early days of tournaments, like let's say 2003 through 2006-ish, it was normal to have like progressive skills through tournaments where each round you would like get a new skill. Yeah. And now it's become the norm where like whatever your round 1 roster is, that's what you're rolling with the whole tournament. But Underworld Cup is different, that you still progress throughout the tournament and keep getting better.
Part of me likes it. Part of me doesn't like it. I like it that it's different, that people don't usually do it, but also I like it because, I think about other games. If you're a Warhammer player, like what's the winning list, bro? Like, I don't want the winning list. I mean, if it was me, I actually would take it a step further. I would randomize skills at that point because it becomes I don't want it to be, not only is it a winning starting list, but a winning path to success. It's like a skill tree, you know what I mean, a video game. I don't know if I want that.
On that note, I think you should probably save that for something we're going to talk about later in this podcast.
Oh, we're doing a later? My notes don't say there was a later.
There might be another segment where we can touch on random skills in tournaments.
Ooh, I hope it's future Bleebs tournament update. I have that one too. Okay, so with this one, your first round opponent was actually the great Brian too, correct?
It was. So we've been Blood Bowl friends for quite a while, Brian too and I.
Just say friends. You know, Brian, the other Brian's listening to this right now, and he's like, really? We're blood? That's like saying he's my work friend.
Well, and he spells his name correctly, so he gets extra points for that as well.
That is true. I was saying he's more than he's a friend who plays Blood Bowl. It's kind of like when I was a kid and my yaya would be at home. She's like, Yanni, your boyfriend is here, and I'm like, yaya, it's not my boyfriend. It's my friend who is a boy. And it's like that. He's a Blood Bowl friend, but he's a friend that plays Blood Bowl.
Okay.
He's like, okay, it's your boyfriend. I'm like, okay, whatever.
But as long as we've been friends, we had never played until I think like 4 or 5 days prior to Underworld Cup. We played online for the first time. And then at Underworld Cup, we get matched up round 1 for the first time.
Wait, you've never played against him?
No.
Ever?
No, it was crazy. So
That's shocking.
We played on Fumble earlier in the week, and then we draw each other first round.
I can't even imagine how that's possible with the amount of tournaments you guys have both gone to. So,
yeah, it's nuts.
A House of Brian divided against itself. It's I get why the Nuffle did not want the Brians the matchup, but this is one where sort of your flagship tournament, the 40 Miners have a long storied history at Underworld Cup. The banners are there to prove it. And all of a sudden it became, all right, hotshot. Test your mettle, if you will.
Yeah, so he rolled up with Amazons, with the new Amazon roster, and he also had Zug. So Zug did not play for either of us in this game.
You got de-zugged.
Which I was actually okay with. Going in, I thought that actually helped me more than him.
Oh, no doubt. Because
I still have a solid team after you remove Zug.
I would imagine now it's like, well, he bet a lot on that hitting power, to kind of protect him. So, yeah.
And, I have dwarves and he has Amazon, so you think there should be an advantage there. But the way it turned out, he's just that much better of a coach than I am, and it wasn't that big of an advantage. And the two Amazons with defensive, and at this point in the tournament, I only had 3 guard. Those 2 defensive players screwed me up so much. Even when they weren't screwing me up, they were in my head, and I was thinking about them.
What do you mean by defensive players?
There's 2 Amazon players that start with a defensive skill.
Oh, I guess I've been behind the times on that one. Okay.
Yeah, so defensive turns off guard on your opponent's turn.
Oh, well, I guess I'm out. Hey, everybody, it's my last Zlurpcast. If guard is now negated, I think my time is up. I did not even realize that. Wow.
Yeah, so it only works on your opponent's turn, though, defensively, but it shuts off guard.
Yeah.
Which it's really something that you have to think about a lot. It really stops you and interrupts your game a little bit to make you consider what you're doing.
Like when someone has a strip ball player, now you're thinking about that guy the whole time.
Yeah, unless you have sure hands, and then you don't care.
Right.
But yeah, so Brian too kicked my ass. I don't think it was a competitive game at all. I hope I get to play him again and actually give him a competitive game. But he beat me pretty soundly because he's that much better than I am.
Do you think you would have had a better chance later in the tournament when your guys were built up, or no?
Probably, which is weird because you would think you would want to run into a good coach early, but I think in this particular matchup, this would have been a better late round matchup.
Okay. All right, just wondering. So you started off with a loss for your team, unfortunately, and Brian started with a win, the other Brian. So this was a 5-rounder?
Yeah, so it's 3 rounds the first day, then 2 rounds the next day. It's only 3 rounds, so that way we can get done early enough to do all kinds of extracurricular games.
Yeah,
and drinking.
So much better. I mean, doing 4 is tough. It's when I was younger, different story, but now it's just exhausting to get to 4. So I think
the 4th game is a real grind.
It doesn't. And I don't want to say it's not fun because it's kind of like, I just want to go. I want to leave the room and do something else. You know what I mean? It's not even about the game anymore at that point. It's about, there's a certain amount of hours.
It's funny that you say that because I think it was Aaron that came up to me. He's like, oh, I thought Johnny would be here. And I was like, I don't know if this is his environment. He likes to get away from the games after they're over.
Yeah. It's also, here's the thing too. I don't like everybody. So that happens. And if I'm trapped in a house and I can't leave, what do you want me to do? I don't want to be a prick and just kind of like, not ignore people, especially when you're formerly known as main guy and you have to be on all the time. And it's like, oh God, you were a cock in our game. And now we got to hang out and be cool. It's like, I don't know, man. I think I'm going to go to, White Castle down the street and sit there for the rest of the night. Listen, I just want to say, Extreme, I've loved every Underworld Cup I've been to. And I might make it back one day. It might happen sometime. Speaking of Underworld, your round 2 game was against Underworld team, right?
It was. What a segue. You're like a professional here.
No, I just had some time to prepare. That's all.
Yeah, so I got to play an Underworld team next, and my dice were just crazy hot, and I was removing players left and right. Again, part of the crazy build of Underworld Cup, a lot of the things that you can't take in a normal tournaments, you can take here. So he had an apothecary and a wizard to go with his team.
What do you mean you can't take them normally?
Well, normally you can't take a wizard to most tournaments.
You mean can't afford?
No, you're just not allowed.
Oh, wizards aren't allowed. I just thought nobody took them because nobody wants to blow 150 on that or whatever it is.
No, so usually like all the crazy inducement, the wizards, giants and stuff you can't take. There was a giant at Underworld Cup this year, wizards and all kinds of stuff.
Bears, rhinos.
Yeah,
Yo, this motherfucker ain't one of us. He said he'd fuck a sheep.
but this game was just going really well for me. The dice were being very friendly, and I was removing a lot of players. Another crazy thing, just to really show the craziness of the builds of this tournament, he had in round 2 an agility 1+ gutter runner.
Ooh.
In round 2. So that was, one of his early upgrades was improving the agility of his gutter runner, which was very concerning for me. But thankfully, he failed 1 dodge, leaving tackle, used his reroll, and rolled another one. So fortunate for me, unfortunate for him. So I moved my cage over like on top of his down gutter runner and fouled him to death.
Yeah. Curb stomp. Well, listen, you got to know it's coming. That's the risk. You upgrade one player like that crazy, and a gutter runner, he's already got a target on him. So understand.
Yeah, definitely. There was another team I didn't play that had a war dancer that was a agility 1+, which sounds like a nightmare too. But I would have been willing to sacrifice my opening drive if it meant removing this gutter runner. So the fact that I didn't have to really adjust my scoring too much and remove him was great.
Yeah. And so you ended up winning that one?
Yep.
Okay.
So I won that game.
So you're 1-1 at this point. At this moment, you're shooting me messages like, man, I got this in the bag. And I was like, what? You're like, yeah, it's going pretty well. Hey, I got my ass kicked by a good coach, so it's pretty much like a win. I'm like, well, how's that a win? That's weird. I'm just saying, a lot of times when you're 500, you're thinking you got it. You're looking good because you're thinking if I'm going to be against other 500-ish teams, you think you can edge above that pack. And I guess we'll find out because round 3, you played against Undead.
With an Undead team that also had a wizard.
Oh,
so I received and I had my nice cage rolling up and I had it nice and tight trying to entice him to use his wizard. Mm-hmm. And he even mentioned that. He's like, you really want me to use that wizard, don't you? I was like, I do. I want you to use it so it's gone and we can move on with the game.
So same spells like the old days, right?
Yeah, so you have the option of different wizards, but both of the people I played had the standard wizard.
So you're looking for him to blow the 4+ everybody goes down thing, right?
Yeah, the fireball.
Yeah, okay.
Which he was patient with it until he could capitalize on a potential good fireball and he can go and scoop up the ball. But thankfully, the wizard didn't roll that well, didn't do a whole lot of damage, and I was able to go down and score.
So wait, the fireball was a dud.
A bit of a dud, yeah.
So
I think he had one of his guys in the circle of fireballish, and he got hit, and then like one of my guys did, but everybody else had missed.
See what I'm saying? You got to watch who you're getting fired. Kids, Watch who you're getting fireballs from. You know what I mean? You see a fireworks stand, they got, crotch rockets, they got bottle rockets, they got finger blasters, you know what I mean? Whippersnappers, Husker do's, Husker don'ts. You get a fireball, just want to make sure it works. You spend all that money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was an excellent coach and made it very difficult for me. And it was a very tough game. It ended in a 1-1 tie. So I wasn't able to stop him from scoring either.
I believe we say draw in Blood Bowl, not tie.
A draw, sure.
Yeah. Tie is something that goes around your neck, Extreme. We say draw in Blood Bowl. I'm just saying that's the Blood Bowl way. That's how it was taught to me by the ancestors of the game. I will say in one of the early Zlurpcast episodes, we had this guest on every now and then. He'd mentioned how he was not a fan of ties or draws. He actually said some derogatory things about ties as well. So I assume he meant bow ties, which I would also say derogatory things against bow ties. Not a fan.
Well, but that was day one. So I finished at 1-1-1 after day one.
Feeling good?
Yeah. Typically,
did you get
at
fucked
Underworld
up?
Cup,
Yeah, you get fucked up that night or what? Come on.
Yeah, so there's coolers and beer is flowing all weekend long, but usually Saturday night is like the crazy night, but not this year so much. I think there's two things that contributed to that. I think everyone seemed to have gone a little harder Friday night than they typically do, and I also think everyone's a little older.
Yeah.
So Saturday was kind of mellow for Underworld Cup.
You don't see, like, as far as new blood goes, you don't see like a bunch of 25-year-olds there, right?
I mean, there's some, but you see, I would say the majority is still veteran guys.
Were they cute though, or just were they cute, or just no? I was wondering. I want to mentor like a 25-year-old coach. I just want to take him home. You know what I mean? Mentor him a little bit. Show him the ropes.
Yeah.
Now, listen. I remember the last Underworld Cup I went to, I believe, or one of them I went to, and it all seemed to be based on who got in when on Friday. So the people that got in early that were kind of partying a little bit then maybe weren't as nuts on Saturday. But then a lot of people didn't do a whole lot on Friday. And maybe those ones kind of did. So were you there Friday enough to hang out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this was the earliest I've ever arrived on a Friday. I was there before 6.
How come you didn't talk about that on this episode yet? It was like we got right into the games. We got like no foreplay. We went right in.
I mean, the reason that I was able to get there earlier with my new job, I have a flexible schedule, so I can kind of arrange that.
Oh, you don't do anything.
And
you don't do anything.
I was picking up Alex on the way. Alex went up with me, and he had classes that cooperated with us leaving a little earlier. So we said, screw it, we're going to get there earlier and claim our spot in the basement and get a nice comfy spot.
So you created your bed before everybody else.
That was the plan. And I got there and I have kind of a usual spot. And I went down there and there were like blankets laying there. And I couldn't quite tell if someone had claimed it or not, or if that was like Saul's kids' blankets. And that's what it turned out to be. Like, it was just the blankets that are always in the basement. No one had claimed it. So I ended up moving there Saturday night.
So it wasn't
Friday night.
Like in Chicago, they have dibs. They put like lawn chairs in the street.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure if someone was calling dibs on it or not. So I went over and snuggled up with Mike on the floor, and that was rough. So the next night, I went and took my little couch spot back.
Was there still that inflatable doll? What was that thing at one time?
I don't think that one lasted. No.
Okay, well, that's good that you found a spot there. And, let me ask you, when it came to the gathering of the sweaty dudes, who was known as, like, we'll say Jack the Ripper that night? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it was one of the team captains, the only team captain that stayed at Saul's house. And a funny little side story there. Alex woke up Saturday morning and his eye was hurting. And he was like, I woke up and I was like face down on the couch and like I had some scratches on my face and now my eye hurts. And I was like, I don't know, you probably aggravated your eye or something. Yep. Don't lay face down. What are you doing, dumbass? Mm-hmm. But then it started like getting worse. And I asked Saul to look at it and he's like, that looks like pink eye.
Yeah.
I was like, that's because you're sitting next to Phil and Phil's been farting in your face all night.
Yeah. He basically made out with a fart pillow. You know what I mean? Not a good scene. Not a good scene there. I'll tell you what, most of the time when I'm staying somewhere, I wear a lot of hoodies. I end up making it a multi-purpose hoodie. it ends up being my de facto pillow. I might put it on top of a real pillow, but I know that I'm not going to get pink eye from that, at least. I take my farts the old-fashioned way, into my own butt. Like, you know what I mean? We sit butt to butt and we go, suck them in. I don't want it in my eye. That's not good. So Saturday night, what'd you guys play game-wise?
So there were several games going on. Everyone kind of broke up into smaller groups and played a whole bunch of different games. A lot of them looked way more advanced than I wanted to get into.
Yeah. Oh, always like, it's almost one of those moments where you look around and be like, guys, why isn't anyone doing soggy biscuit tonight? You know what I mean? Something simple. We all know the rules for.
But I did find one that was up my alley. It was cockroach poker.
Okay.
Nice and simple. It was described to me as being poker, but the worst hand loses. That's not at all how it is, but it was still a lot of fun.
So
we played.
Are you still playing with actual playing cards?
No, well, they're cards, but they have different insects and there's rats, like different little critters on them. There's 8 different kinds and there's 8 of each kind in the deck. So it's a bluffing game. Like you pass a card face down to someone and you say, this is a cockroach. And they have to tell whether it is or not, or they can look at it and pass it on to someone else and continue the bluff around the circle.
Okay.
So it was quite a fun. I liked it. I think I'm going to be purchasing this game, and it's probably a game that I'm going to play with like family members and normies and stuff.
Normies, your real friends, not your Blood Bowl friends?
I mean, I don't have very many normies. It'd mostly be my wife's friends that
right. That's
tolerate me.
Yeah, exactly. Do they call you their Blood Bowl friend?
No. I'm sure they call me a lot of things behind my back.
This is going to be, by the way, I hate to break it to you, but you know this is going to be an ongoing thing in this show now. Saying my Blood Bowl friend.
Blood Bowl friend.
There's, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Scott's home league. Like, it's going to be a thing forever now. Since we're talking about other games, can I throw a suggestion out there? I'm calling this one a really fun party game. Something you want to bust out in front of you. It's a real game. You might have to find it on eBay, like a used one. It's called Pass the Booger. And it's a real game. You collect different cards, different types of boogers. Then there's actually a little gummy booger in the box that you pass around, whoever has it, like a crusty booger, a snot, whatever. If you're looking for fun party games, look no further than Pass. Or the Welcome Back Kotter home game. That one is also solid too. Comes with an actual model for the rubber hose to go up your nose with a rubber hose. So in the scheme of fun party games, throw a couple, and of course, Soggy Biscuit as well. Hide the Salami, you know, the classics.
So when you do return to Underworld Cup, you need to bring these games with you.
I don't own any of those. I own Hide the Salami, and I own Soggy Biscuit. I don't own Dean has Passed the Booger, and what was the other one? I don't remember. But if you want extreme, I will play Hide the Salami with you.
Why you laugh?
We'll see.
If I know I don't remember the rules. Second edition screwed everything up, but whatever. That was Saturday night. You had some fun, played some games. You looked for the kind of easy ones. By the way, side note, in these gatherings on, after the games, do you tend to gravitate towards, and it's not a question of who do you like, but do you go towards where's the wacky crew, or do you go with the who's the serious crew? Where do you usually go?
Well, this year, I had something else that was kind of altering my schedule too. Michigan was playing Michigan State at night. So I went to the living room and watched the first half of that game, and it was going as expected.
And you're a Spartan, right? Just to clarify?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay, I was just checking.
So after that, I definitely am not looking at any of the games that are more complicated. That's just not what I'm into at all right now, and definitely not in that environment.
Yeah.
So really, the cockroach poker game, I was kind of... I wasn't really interested in playing anything, but they came over and they're like, hey, it's a poker game and worst hand. Okay, I can handle that. Like, I'll go over there and play that with you.
Easy enough. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I can't learn a new game on the spot and have fun at the same time. So it's going to be one or the other. I'm either going to learn a new game or I'm going to have fun. So I'd rather just find something easy there, or just whatever. Even if maybe somebody busts out an N64 one day and we just go nuts on No Mercy. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the appeal for certain people playing some of those other games for the first time or because they know them. It's just not what I'm into right now. Last year we played Hero Quest, which was really cool.
Yeah,
Another
that's
very
a fun
simple
one.
game.
Yeah. Was it the new re-release of that? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Would you ever play a game that's a little on the more complex side, but it's because you and the people playing already know how to play it? Or do you think that's kind of like it ends up keeping people away and it's like, well, you want to be inviting, you know?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Just like, for example, I love the game Techno Bowl, but I don't play with anybody now. But I would have to bring it with people who already knew how to play because I can't explain that whole thing, you know?
Right.
And it's football, it kind of fits. But anyway, so Sunday, you have round 4 at this point.
Indeed.
Okay.
So I sit down and I get another member of the Second Sons online Fumble League that I'm in that Sean House Blackfire runs, and it's awesome. I love being in this league. So this was the second person in this league that I played today. Brian too is also in this league. This round I was playing Josh Juggernaut, the painter extraordinaire from Florida.
Okay.
Who's going to be in charge of all the painting awards and stuff at Chaos Cup.
Ah, very nice. It's always good to have somebody who knows what they're talking about to judge, you know, and not like me and you. You know what I mean?
Why you laugh?
No, but he had a orc team. So orcs and dwarves at round 4 Underworld were both pretty built up at this point.
And a classic matchup, a grudge, you know, not a grudge match of teams, but a grudge match of races.
Yeah.
You know.
And it was a very tough game, but I was getting pretty lucky breaking some orc armor. But he was fighting through that and making it really difficult for me. And he scored on turn 6, so he gave me 2 turns to score, and I was able to do it with dwarves, which was pretty nice.
Was there a touchback involved?
What?
Touchback involved in that one?
No.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Earned it.
Just moved it down there in 2 turns. It was pretty nice.
So you're saying you were rolling a lot of 10s that game?
I was rolling some pretty hot dice this game.
What dice were you using, by the way? What dice? What do you got?
The official tournament dice.
Oh, okay. Just checking. I thought it was the quote unquote special dice that you have.
No. Into the second half, I was able to stall out his drive, and I had this like crazy miracle chance at a score on turn 16 in the pouring rain. It was almost coast to coast with dwarves, and I got really far into it. I actually got the pickup in a tackle zone, handoff, got the pass to a blitzer in a tackle zone in the rain, and he caught it, but then he failed to dodge out. And I wasn't even upset. I was like, that's fine. I got way further than I deserved.
Yeah. Man.
It's good.
It is fun when the weird stuff does happen in those games where you can both kind of laugh about it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, I would have felt bad if I would have won that game because I think he outplayed me in this game. So if I would have walked away with a win, I would have felt a little guilty. Yeah. So I'll take the tie and move on.
Okay. So another tie, and which, you know, listen, you're known as a tie guy. You tie a lot.
Sure.
Do you tie more than you lose?
I mean, that wouldn't be bad, right?
I'm not putting you down. I'm just asking.
I don't know. I would have to pull up my spreadsheet and look.
Oh, of course you have a spreadsheet, nerd.
Hold on here. I've got to do a V lookup on this table over here. 1 second.
So round 5, final round. At this point, are you in contention to win anything?
No, definitely not. Just pride.
To win pride, or just you already have pride, try not to lose it?
Either or. So all the years I've gone to Underworld Cup, one of the crazy things that's happened, I've always done pretty well. Pretty well in that I don't really have losing records very often. I've only ever lost 2 games one time.
Is that why you like it? Is that why you like it?
No, I mean, I like what Saul has done with it, but those records go back to pre-Solid years even.
Okay. All right.
Like there's only been one time that I lost more than 1 game.
I just want to see if your like alleged love for this tournament was also because you only win there.
You know? No, I mean, I haven't won the tournament since 2006. So most of the people showing up at the tournament weren't playing Blood
They
Bowl.
weren't even alive then. I mean, you were winning Resurrection Gutter Runners like nobody's business back in the day.
For sure.
So round 5.
Round 5, I get paired up with Steve Limke. This is the 3rd Canadian I played on the weekend, which is nice.
Is that's 3 in American though? What is it in Canadian? Still 3?
No.
Okay.
Is it 3 loonies?
It's actually
a toonie and a loony.
That's a toonie and a loony, just like the cartoon.
Okay.
E. Okay.
Blamaham, who runs Spike, and Spike was just like a week or two prior to Underworld, so he flew all the way from Western Canada over for this tournament, which is really cool.
because he's in like Vancouver-ish area, right?
Yeah, somewhere over there.
Somewhere out
I'm
there.
not good with my Canadian geography, but somewhere in the West.
Enough he had to fly, though. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It was quite travel for him.
Yeah.
But we had a great game. Well, I had a great game. This was another Dwarf versus Amazon match, and this is my fully built-up Dwarf team at this point. So I had 8 Mighty Blow players and 7 Guard players. So playing Amazons, it was not going to be pretty, and it just wasn't. It went the way you would imagine it would. And Steve took it very well. We laughed. We had a good time. We both realized how ridiculous the game was, I think. So we were just kind of laughing and getting through it together.
Was your whole team just like hula hoop models at this point?
Mine wasn't.
You know what I'm talking about. Hula hoops.
No, but because I'm limited to the similar skills, I just have 2 different colors.
Okay.
Like, we may note here, if you're listening to this as an audio podcast, that's excellent. That's the way it's intended. But we're also going to be putting this on YouTube, and I will insert an image right at this point that shows an example of hula hoops taking over a model where you can't even see the miniature anymore.
Wow. It's a good way if you're a bad painter to hide everything. Like, like, hey, can I see your models? I just want to see like the work you did. And you're like, I got all these skills. I can't unveil it now. I have too many skills. Can't do it. So you end up winning that one because Dwarves just beat the crap out of Amazons.
Yeah. Okay. And Steve was great about it. And we talked about it after the game. And I think I look forward to playing him again, hopefully someday. And
I would like to meet
Steve. A little more fair.
I'd like to meet Steve in person one day, and it may be at an Underworld Cup. I may not ever go to a Spike only because I'm not going to travel that far, but maybe something, Midwest area. Might see him. So
if I ever get my life back together, I'll travel that far again.
What you mean your life? Is this like a different podcast? Or,
yeah, for sure.
Or are you saving it for inside the dugout?
Extreme goes on the Dave Ramsey podcast and gives bad examples.
I don't know if I want that one. 2 wins, 2 ties, 1 loss. Good enough for 10th place out of 40?
Yeah, 38, 39, something like that.
Okay, that's pretty good for you.
Not too bad.
For you, yeah.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
And so tell me about the vampire contingent here.
So this was possibly the first tournament where we saw the new vampire team in action. And not only did we see the new vampire team in action, but a lot of really good coaches took vampires. So we got to see vampires at their best. And then in this environment where you're getting a bunch of crazy skills and stuff, it was just nuts.
Did Vanderbeek call his team the Vampires?
I don't think so.
Why wouldn't he?
No, they're Eternal Thirst.
Yeah, I know that's a real name, but I mean, I'm just saying when you go to Underworld Cup, Saul puts the names on the wall, and I was at a tournament and there were children present, and someone had the C word written in large print on the wall, and I was like, oh, okay, we're doing that. Okay, we're doing that now. So I'm thinking if you're in the joke realm, and I'm not saying the name's a joke, I'm just saying it's your name, Vampires. Do you get it?
I get it. I'm not sure it's that funny. But...
No, I know. That's why I said it's not really a joke. It's his name.
Oh, okay.
It's not so much funny at it, like haha, as it is like clever. So just something to think about. Second place, who got that one?
Did we say Vanderbeek got first? I
don't think sorry.
We mentioned that.
Okay.
So Vanderbeek won first place with his vampires. He had a tough first round matchup. I forget who it was. But I kind of felt like if we were going to get him, that's the round that we were going to get him. I knew once he got rolling with that team, it was gone.
He played vampires in the old rules too, though.
He did, and he was good with those. Yeah. And he played them in the 2020 rules where of the 3 versions, that's probably the worst version, and he was still really good with them then.
I haven't played vampires since Off for a Bite back in the day.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Off for a Bite. 4+.
OFAB.
Yeah, he ain't even in the game. 50-50, he's not even in the game. It's like that was phoning in the rules on that one. It's like, how about 50-50 he doesn't play? Like, that's the rule?
And we were okay with it then.
Okay with it. Okay. Off for a bite, mate. All right, so that was...
shit wouldn't fly these days.
No. They'd have somebody's head on a stick on that one. And that would be the trophy. The old Headbangers Ball trophy. Bring that one back too, Extreme. Notate that to bring that back in your garage one more time.
All right.
The return.
I pass those on to somebody else.
You can, if you can find someone gullible enough to take on your old tournaments.
I snuck the models in a package. Mike has them now.
Okay. That's good. I have one of them, but you got the rest of them. You should just get rid of all your old tournaments. Sell the rights to Zlurpee Bowl while you're at it.
Yeah. What's the value on that?
What's the value of a Zlurpus model? Same. All right. So Vandermeer won. Second place was whom?
Sean Huberman with his Dark Elves. Sean plays a lot of tournaments and plays a lot of tournaments very well. I think he is the leading scorer in the GLAM tournaments, the Great Lakes tournament series. So yeah, another great coach finishing in the top. Who would have thought? Third place was Mike Kuhn, another great coach. So look at this, top three, all great coaches. Crazy that, the cream rises to the top, as they say.
And also kind of cool that it's vampires, dark elves, vampires. In other words, teams that you didn't see near the top for a long time. Teams that I like, but you just don't see their names up there.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where vampires go. This tournament may not be a great judge of them. It's an excellent team in the right hands. And Vanderbeek's going to be taking him to Chaos Cup, so we'll see how well he does there.
Cool. Looks like other awards, Most Brutal, Brian 2 also got fourth place.
Yeah, so he took Most Brutal, and he was the fourth place coach.
Yeah. John Stevens, is that he's from England, but then Wisconsin?
Yep.
Where's
fake British guy?
Fake British guy or real American guy. I don't know. Fake British hero. Insert the
so
song.
he took the most touchdowns award. So that was all of those that we've mentioned so far were on Old Man Monkey's team. So you can imagine how the team contest went there.
Yikes.
Wasn't super close.
Yeah. Well, it's going to happen when you got a powerhouse team.
Yeah.
It's like
we did get one award on our team though.
Oh, was it the final award?
The final award did go to the Purple Gang. Chris Hunt took home the wooden spoon.
So this is they were like the dream team in '92, and you guys were like some random country no one's ever heard of.
Yes.
With all that said, your favorite tournament though, right?
Yeah, my favorite tournament. It is my can't miss tournament of the year. I look forward to it every year. I kind of consider it like my Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Saul does an amazing job with it. Ryan helps him out. And Kathy, his wife, is very inviting, allowing us all to come into her home and kind of take over for the weekend. It's just awesome time. Yeah. I can't recommend it enough.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's Tournament Graveyard. I think it's time to go inside the dugout coming up next on Zlurpcast.
Brought to you by McMurdy's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loathing it. You are tuned into the Zlurpcast
with Extreme and Johnny P. Lodging to a speaker near you.
That's what we are.
Inside the dugout.
Inside the dugout. I missed that guy. Jeff Mastel on the voice there. He's not listening, doesn't matter. But Inside the Dugout is the segment where we talk about what we are going to be doing. Now, that could be our tournament lists, hobby projects, teams we're buying or getting into, things that involve us. So if you don't like us, turn off now and talk it over with your class. But if you do like us, you want to keep listening because Extreme and I are both going to be going to the Red Tide Charity Tournament in Iowa City right around the corner from release of this episode.
Yeah, within days or hours or very close to whenever this comes out.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, Red Tide Charity Tournament is probably happening really, really soon.
Mm-hmm.
Along with the two of us, Alex is going to be joining me again. His schedule is pretty cool right now. He's able to tag along with me to almost all the tournaments I go to. So that's kind of cool.
Father-son bonding time, right?
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
He's finally at the stage where he doesn't mind hanging out with his pop. You know, for a while he was like, come on. Right? Come on.
But
now he realized, well, he's going to pay for stuff. Like, he's going to buy food and drink. So,
he's going to do this crazy Iron Man drive. I get to sleep in the passenger seat.
I'll hang out with Dad. He's driving. He's buying. Sure, Dad. Let's make some memories together, bro.
But we got done talking about a very unique tournament build, and this one is unique in some ways as well. The female star players of Blood Bowl will play for any team this weekend.
So I wanted to ask you on that one, how do we know which ones are females? They don't say that on the cards.
You have to ask.
I don't think in this day and age you're supposed to ask.
I think you are. Just ask what their pronouns are so that we don't get it wrong. And
you mean ask the star player?
Yeah.
Can't I just pick the model up and look upside down?
If that works for you.
It did in the 90s. Not supposed to anymore. So the female star players, you're talking about like Carla Van Kill and Roxana Darknail, Willow Rose Bark. There's probably about 10 of them, roughly.
Pie Whistle, Cindy.
Cindy Pie Whistle. Cool name.
Roxanne is the one that I'm really afraid of, but we'll see how it goes.
Are you going to bring a female?
I'm not. I'm bringing a male.
Oh, star player?
Zug.
Oh, is he a male?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, do you remember when we interviewed Zug like 15 years ago? He said some awful things. He would not be a fan of some of the stuff going down in this tournament, is all I'm saying.
Probably not.
Okay, so the build is it's a 3-round tournament, and you're getting 1.2 million. You get 8 skill points. Normal ones are 1, The secondaries are 2, and you could bring a star, but it's going to cost you some of your skill points. Charity event, all going to help women's reproductive health. So the more you spend, you get cards, right?
Yeah, so everyone starts out with, I believe it's 3 special play cards, and you can donate more money and get additional cards to build out your hand. But you can still, it's kind of Super Bowl style, you can still only play 1 card per game. And if you play a card during that game, your opponent gets to keep it to use in a future game.
Now, what if I put it in my pocket?
Yeah, I guess you're free to do that.
And then what do I do with it at that point?
I have no idea.
Like leave it in my pants so then it gets washed?
I guess.
Okay. I was just asking. I'm a what if kind of guy. I like to ask the what ifs, the hard questions people aren't asking.
Aldrich is also joining us this weekend. So we kind of have a little Zlurpcast takeover going on here in Iowa.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, to be clear, he's not part of the show anymore. So
he's in the Zlurpcast family.
Yeah. But I mean, he's a Blood Bowl friend. I mean,
And this is also happening the same weekend as the Chaos Cup. So
this
is kind of
battle.
The people that couldn't make it or aren't going to the Chaos Cup.
Hold on. Let's
leftovers.
Let's do our picks right now. Which one's going to get more? Let's put money on it. Let's get crazy. All right. I'm going to go Chaos Cup. You go Red Tide. Let's just put this, I don't know, like 3,000 down and just see who gets more. Gold.
Sounds like a good deal.
Gold pieces, obviously. Bronze pieces. So yeah, Chaos Cup. I've gone to plenty of times. Great event. It's going to be amazing in Florida. I just can't go to Florida right now. That's all. Yeah. But this is a nice opportunity to still play Blood Bowl that same weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to soften the blow of not being a Chaos Cup.
Definitely.
Being able to get some games in.
So you're bringing in the 40 miners with Zug. I don't have my roster fully set yet because I literally just decided to play in this 2 days ago. So I didn't really think a whole lot about it. I'm leaning towards going with Elven Union. I have not played Elves in a long time. I've been playing Bashy teams forever. As much as I want to bring the Black Label Berserkers to possibly have a 40 Miners matchup against them, I don't know. I've been leaning towards wanting to kind of go try the quicker and elfish teams again. So I'll probably bring the Sunnydale Slayers, and I probably won't use a star player because I want to maximize all 8 of my skills because I want to make those blitzers insane just because you can. And I don't know if it's worth blowing any points on star players. It's hard. You know what I mean? It's like you said at the beginning of the show, Extreme, we're now having to make hard choices. And that's kind of what you want, right?
Well, I wouldn't say we're making hard choices yet. We're making choices. I hope it continues and gets to the point where we're making hard choices.
I don't think it's a hard choice. What do you mean? I mean, I had a couple of rosters built, one with Willow Rose Bark and one with, I think Morg actually. And I'm thinking, I don't want to do this. I want to play the team the way I want to play them. So yeah, I guess you're saying it wasn't a hard choice.
But Elves in the current format using multiple rerolls a turn all your players can feel like star players on some of those really magical turns.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have 6 rerolls. So it's
okay. So there you go.
I love it, honestly. That was my absolute favorite thing about the change of the rules. I think I mentioned this in one of our older TV episodes about Chaos Cup. Like, oh my God, it's reroll city. And I still found a way to blow them all by my second turn. Like, even when I have 6 of them, they're all like, oh, blew the wad. So we'll cover this one in our next episode about how it all went down. Anything else, or should we go around the old world?
I think it's time to go around the old world.
All right.
You are tuned into the Zlurpcast with the dirty player and the sneaky get.
Brought to you by Nurgle King. Your decay right away at Nurgle King now.
Around the old world.
I think Jervis is going to call him.
He's going to phone in, as they say in England. Jervis might phone in.
I think he's like fully retired now, isn't he?
He's got a niggling injury?
I think so. A couple.
Right. I think so. Well, we're going to go around the old world. Jervis, this one's for you, buddy. Because we're talking about tournaments, and you are the man, the myth, the legend. The man who once lost quite a few games at Chaos Cup. Just, the game you wrote and made. What the hell, dude? Speaking of other tournaments, around the old world. The full list is, of course, on the NAF sites. If you are not a member, you can sign up, get some cool dice, other giveaways, and you get to partake in all of the lively discussion that goes on. And check out what tournaments are coming up.
Yeah, with the new state listing, the upcoming tournaments list is a lot more useful and handy for us.
It is. I wish it was more of a filter where I can kind of then group them from there. But listen, I'm not going to complain. It took us 20 years to get state. So, I mean, to be fair, 20 years of the same website, we got state. I don't know what we're going to get in 2043, but hopefully it's at least as good as getting state in there. Around the old world, Extreme, where shall we go first?
Well, I think the one that you can't avoid is that Chaos Cup is right around the corner. 200 plus coaches. This is the first year's in Florida. It's too late to sign up for the event, but we can't not mention it. If you're going, best of luck to you. I'm jealous. James is putting together a great tournament down there. It's going to be an awesome time.
Is that a typo? Is it really 200 plus?
It is. I think it's 220.
Oh my God. So back in the day, that's another segment we have too, we have back in the day. Remember that one? We have that too. We should bring that. I'm going to make you, because you're not another guy anymore. You got to do half the work.
Back in the day. Back in the day.
Come up with all that. Back in the day. But back in the day, getting 50 or 60 was a huge accomplishment. Okay. And then of course, I broke some barriers, you know what I mean? Getting to like 80s and 90s. And we're like, it'll never be topped. You know what I mean? It's kind of like playing Super Mario 3. Like, guys, graphics will never get better than this moment. Because at the moment...
I'm not sure they did. I think that might be true.
Okay. Hot take. I like it. Back in the day, you might hear more on that one. By the way, I played Mario 3 instead of going to any school dance. That's what I did. They were doing that. I was doing this. And I made the right choice. That's all I'm saying. But 200 plus coach, 220 at Chaos Cup. Unbelievable. I'm jealous I'm not there. Maybe we'll get there someday.
I imagine I'll get down there for a couple, but
not
every year.
Would it be something you would take your whole family to make a vacation out of it?
Yeah, it would have to be something like that, I think.
So
I don't think I could tell my wife that I'm going to Florida without her.
So just to clarify, would you be going you're going to go see Blood Bowl friends, but with your actual family? Will there ever be a moment where you go with Blood Bowl family and your actual friends?
Well, I mean, I think Alex is getting to the point where he's crossing over that line, right? He's a family and Blood Bowl friend.
He's not a real friend?
He's family.
Okay, all right. The kid still wants his allowance, so he's going to keep his mouth shut. I know that.
Allowance. He's 21 years old.
That's right. He can just steal from your wallet directly. Good point.
Why you laugh?
Chaos Cup, huge, awesome. I can't wait to hear about how it went and be jealous as well. What's going on in early December?
Early December, I just picked out a couple of these. There are a ton of tournaments. I encourage you to go to the NAF site and look at all of them. I think I counted like 20 in the US in just November and December.
Let me ask you real quick, is it safe to say, not to, again, we never mean anything. We do this kind of, this is like back in the day, but we probably will talk mostly about the tournaments that are nearest to us, only because of the potential of us going. It's not that we don't want to talk. Just to preface it, like, why didn't you mention this? Like, well, it's easiest to talk about what's nearby. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy because these are probably tournaments that I've already opened up and read about because I considered going to them.
Yeah, right.
Because they're close enough to drive to. It's the first one that I have on my calendar right now. I'm planning to be there unless something else comes up. Is December 2nd in South Bend, Indiana. It is Mr. Elbow's Invitational Rumble Cup.
Ah, the Mirk.
Yeah, that's a long name, but there are some crazy build rules in this one. You're paying for your skills out of your treasury, which is always causes trouble sometimes. So because of that, there are no tiers at all, no star players, but you nominate a player on your team to be a captain, and he's allowed to have, I think, 2 normals, a secondary, and a stat upgrade on him.
Listen, you had me at no stars. When I hear no stars, I'm automatically interested.
But it's no stars, but you're kind of creating your own. It's like build your own star.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Do you know who I am, Extreme? Who am I?
You're Johnny P.
Yeah, okay. And what else is a claim to fame in the Blood Bowl world that I did? Come on.
I don't know. I don't know what you're going for here.
Oh, man. You're supposed to be, at this point, a Mather guy. Not another guy, a Mather guy. Or maybe an Othane guy. I thought you were an Othane guy.
I didn't make it through one episode
No.
letting you down.
Extreme. In 1996, I had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry the 90s were a blur for you.
No, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah, it's all coming back to you. It's like, man. Star Player Generation System. Never forget the email zombie66@ix.netcom.com. Submitted to Triple Skull's websites. Andy himself published it on there. Not Chambers, a different Andy. And he puts Star Player Generation System. You're going to hire a scientist to create the perfect Blood Bowl player. And I created it. I published it before anything else. So I know a thing or two, Extreme, about creating your own stars, building that up. So that also intrigued me about this tournament as well.
Hopefully, as long as nothing else comes up, I will be there.
Who's Mr. Elbows, by the way? I got to ask.
I believe that's the I don't know, the fluffy character behind the whole thing. That, he's challenging all the other team captains to prove that he's the best, I think.
Okay, I just had to ask. Mr. Knees will make an appearance, Mr. Ankles, and of course, your character, Mr. Butthole, as well.
Oh.
That's you. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't make the rules. It's invitational. Does that mean you're invited? Because I wouldn't invite you, but maybe they will.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. What's going on in Ohio?
December 9th, there's a Krampus Bowl in Mintor, Ohio.
Krampus.
And we've been talking about all these unique tournaments throughout this whole podcast. This is another unique one. There's no stars and it's lower team value builds. This is, I think tier 1 teams are straight million for a build. But the interesting element of this one,
straight million, what does that mean?
That you just get $1 million and nothing else. Very boring. Very vanilla.
Oh, like the movie Brewster's Million, where you had to spend it in 30 days?
Exactly.
Or else you lost it all or whatever.
Yeah. Okay,
I just want to check. I was hoping it would be like that. I would not mind a straight million. I would love a straight million. But on this one, what is Krampus joining the teams? What's going on there?
No. So the big twist to this one is that there is a giant Wheel of Fortune wheel with random skills on it. So when you go to upgrade your player, you spin the wheel, and that's the skill you get to give them.
That's actually pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. So this goes back to the random skill conversation you were trying to have earlier.
Mm-hmm. Well, everyone's doing all the right things. It's a good way to find myself back at more Blood Bowl tournaments. Are you going to this one?
I'm probably not going to go to this one. No.
That's there's a lot of tournaments out there, is your point, though, and I think it's cool that when you go to the NAF site, it used to be very, we'll say sporadic, right? You'd see maybe like 10 or 12 for the U.S. and then it'd be all over the place, and you're like, well, I'm going to this one. That's what it would be. I'm not going to. No, it's not really the case. Would you say in any given region, there's like 5 a year, you know?
Easily. Yeah. It's stronger than it's ever been before. It's a lot to choose from.
So like the Chicago area used to be kind of our hub for a while between us. There's probably like 4 or 5 tournaments there, right?
It used to be.
Oh, okay. Because I know there's like the Wizards tournament. There's a few. It's nice to see like with each of these, we'll call them, I don't know, metropolitan area where there's like leagues and tournaments instead of just having one, I guess is my point. What I'm getting at, Extreme, is when's Zlurpy Bowl coming back?
Someday.
Oh, Alex taking over?
Maybe.
Oh, any allowance for that?
No, we're just keeping it at someday and maybes every time I'm asked. So that's my answer.
Okay. That works out well. So a lot of good tournaments. You said there's like 20 coming up
Yeah, just in November and December in the U.S., which is, that's usually a slower time, and it's a lot.
Yeah. I think it's time to wrap things up. I don't have wrap-up music. I have an ending music, which you're going to hear that because we've made a few tweaks. So I got to ask you, Extreme, though. You decided to let's kind of get back into Blood Bowl. Let's go to the podcast route once again. And now we're going back to our favorites, going back to the hits. Are you going to have some plans for some of these other segments? People are asking.
Yeah, if people ask for it, I think that we can definitely abide.
A lot of people have been asking.
Have they?
Yeah.
All right. If a lot of people ask, we will fill out all of those old segments.
Yeah, all of them. Even the Zlurpcast exclusive, which usually had a star player interview. I don't think that's going to happen. They won't come on the show anymore. Now it's like legal things and all that kind of stuff. Well, I think it's fantastic that we're doing this again. I don't know if you, the listener, thinks that. It doesn't really matter. If you made it this far, you probably do. But it gives Extreme and I a chance to kind of get back to the roots and play our hits. I think definitely check out zlurpnation.com. Get some show merch. You got shirts and stickers and buttons and all that. Follow on social media. And, of course, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever, Podbean. Definitely get it on there. That's where we're going to be hosting at. And that way you get the new episode whenever you get it. And yeah, not worry too much about the old email club and this and that. It's just you're in the Zlurp Nation. Whether you like it or not, you're one of us. You're a Blood Bowl friend and, dare I say, a Blood Bowl family at the same time.
Oh, look at that.
Blood
Bowl friends, Blood Bowl family, Zlurp Nation.
Hashtag BBFam right there. Any closing words from you, Extreme?
No, thank you for making it this far.
Me?
Please subscribe if you haven't already. And you and everybody else is listening.
Okay.
You have made it this far. You could have given up on me a long time ago.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you all. Thank you, Zlurp Nation. Thank you, main guy or mother guy, Johnny P.
Yeah, mother guy. And thank you, Othane man. Othane guy. It sounds like a Viking name. I'm Othane guy. Like, oh. Okay. All right. We'll be back with another episode at some point. So just, keep listening. Thanks.
War.
Boom! That was the worst thing I ever heard.
It was terrible.
Horrendous.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, yeah?
Well, there are parts of it I liked.
Yeah, I liked a lot of it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was great.
It's wonderful.
Oh, bravo.
More.
Thanks for listening. Stay connected to the show and get official merch at zlurpnation.com.